Okay, so welcome to the third episode of the podcast, 2 Pints of English. And there's 2 new things with this one, very special. One, we're together, we're not over online. And secondly, you're my first, and probably going to be one of my only non-native
I'm flattered.
speakers. And there's a big reason why I've invited you onto this podcast. Although Eldar isn't native, he's got an absolutely fantastic understanding of English.
Yeah, I'm from here, from Moscow.
And what's even more special is he has travelled most places in the UK.
Oh, to all the UK.
Yeah, he's travelled more places than most British people actually ever have done. And that's what we're going to be talking about a little bit today. First of all, what are you drinking today?
I'm drinking some Pilton. Pilton Somerset Keeved cider. I don't know what Keeved is supposed to mean, but
some kind of special brewing technique. And I'm drinking Squeal Pig Perry, which is like a...
Look at that bottle.
A pear cider instead of apple. Absolutely
What
gorgeous.
does it have big on it?
I have no idea, but I kind of like it.
Squill day. So squealing is like making that
Yeah, yeah, it's a squeal sound. So, if you can give yourself a quick, brief introduction for all the listeners out there.
So yeah, I'm from Moscow. I'm an English teacher. I've been teaching English for like 3 years or so. And as Lance said, I'm really passionate about the accents, the variety of the accents in the UK. And I've probably travelled throughout all the UK, except for the West Coast, Liverpool and surroundings, and Wales.
See, I like Wales. Wales is a great place.
Never been to Wales, actually. Well, I've been to Cardiff, but it's not like proper Wales.
Yeah, I mean, we always talk about this. It's like all the major cities, they aren't the proper countries. What was your first initial feeling when you landed in the UK? What was your...
The very first time.
Mm-hmm. I'm guessing you went London to begin with.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But no, the first city was Manchester.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because the cheapest flight was to Manchester, but then I went straight to London.
Uh-huh.
So yeah. When I landed, I thought like, finally, I did it. I'm here.
You got there.
I'm going to see everything from the students' books. Etc. I was really excited, wasn't I? Yeah. And yeah. As I said, I went straight to London. But I spent maybe just 3 days in London. That was enough for me. I just realised I need to see more. Don't get me wrong, it's a beautiful city, beautiful architecture, etc. But it seemed to be overpriced for me.
Oh yeah, London is scarily expensive.
And I wanted to see like proper England, so I just started travelling. That's it.
So what was some of the big misconceptions, like the stereotypes of English, of England and the Englishers? What did you find that just wasn't true, which you always hear about?
Well, first of all, the accents, because we are taught here, almost everybody is taught that RP is the main accent in the UK, but in fact, almost nobody speaks like that. Maybe like 1-2% of people speak like that.
It's amazing for me that so many people have this kind of accent, this kind of ideology of the accent. And it's not just here, I mean, it's Americans, the whole world predicts England to be very, very well spoken.
America also has various accent.
Yeah, they have a various accent, but they still expect all the British people to speak with this very overly pronounced words.
Honestly, I've been to the UK for like, been there maybe 50 times or 60. I spent a lot of time there, and I heard proper RP from the students' books maybe twice or 3 times, and all of them were in museums.
Just like the curators giving the talks.
Where they're supposed to speak with RP.
It was like really fancy, look how professional we are.
I was a bit puzzled, you know what I mean? Like, why doesn't anybody speak like that?
So it's quite a big culture shock sort of travelling around. I'm sure you very quickly picked up on the fact that you can go 20 miles down the road and suddenly everybody has a different accent.
Yeah, so the first city outside of London was York. I travelled there, it took me just 2 hours by rail, and it's a completely different world. First of all, it's Northern England. Second, it's Yorkshire, which is a very particular accent. And I was just amazed. At the beginning, I couldn't understand anyone. Although I knew English pretty well. It was up to scratch, to be honest.
Yeah, it's amazing. All of my students, they keep saying the same. They go to England after studying English for like 12, 15 years, they feel they're like C2, we're really prepared for this. They arrive and like, I didn't understand anybody.
Yeah, I thought I didn't know English. Honestly, what is that language? Where is that famous hello? How do you do?
Why isn't everybody carrying briefcases and having bowler caps? What is this? They lied to me.
Yeah, that was my first impression.
By the way, for everybody out there, if you've got any questions about anything, feel free to put them in the chat and we'll try to answer as many as we can as well. So what's been your favourite places you've seen in the UK? I mean, I've travelled and worked many places. I used to live up north. I'm from the southwest originally. I lived in London. But I would quite happily say that you've probably seen more than I have as well.
I think so. Maybe.
Possibly. I think you've seen more of Scotland for sure.
Scotland is that place for sure, and Yorkshire. Scotland and Yorkshire, probably my favourite places in the UK. Yorkshire because of the accent, and those old traditional villages. Think of Whitby. Have you been to Whitby? Mm-hmm. The seaside, Robin Hood's Bay. Yeah, it's famous for fish and chips also. Mm-hmm. And Scotland is just a completely different world. As I said, Yorkshire is a different world, but Scotland is just another planet.
Especially their accent.
Yeah.
Talking about the food, what about that? Were you surprised that everybody didn't eat fish and chips?
Yeah, I was. And I was also surprised how popular, how common is curry there.
Yeah, we love curry.
I hadn't been expecting that, to be
We're
honest.
obsessed with curry. So if you think like Moscow, you kind of have like a shawarma place every street. We have Lappo curry houses instead.
I just couldn't cotton on why.
And like
It's something to do with history.
yeah, I mean we kind of I'm gonna like, gloss over,
navigate that in a moment.
gloss over this a little bit. We had something to do with India a couple hundred years ago. I can't remember exactly what it was.
It was something.
And we kind of we really adopted their food. But yeah, we're massive fans of curry there. We're not big fans of fish. I don't know if you've noticed, apart from sort of the major cities, London, Manchester, you won't find places to eat sushi.
Yeah, I couldn't. I was trying to.
Yeah. I mean, especially here, it's so popular. It's absolutely
The really
everywhere.
expensive ones, overpriced.
And actually not that good, I found as well.
Yeah, sushi is a big deal here.
Yeah.
Like,
It's like one
very
of the main things, like, don't take away our sushi and pizza. Talking about my experiences coming here, pizza was just, it made me cry.
Here in Russia.
Yeah. I mean, for those of you that don't know, I used to be a professional chef long time back. And I remember I was at a party and someone ordered a pizza. And it was like white and had round bits on top, and I was trying to figure out what it was. So I took a slice, and it was a mayonnaise base, cooked mayonnaise, sliced potatoes.
Just why? Why did they do that?
I have no idea. I'm guessing like sala on top, sala, like,
sick.
and then loads and loads of dill, ukrop, and oh my god, it was the worst thing I've ever seen. An Italian would completely break down crying on the floor. Without a doubt.
They would be swearing.
So yeah, I've never seen anything like that, to be honest.
So my favourite one is full English. I'm a big fan.
Full English breakfast.
I can't find it here. A proper one.
Yeah, I kind of cook it. It's
Hash browns. Those are my favourites.
the best hangover cure in the world. When you've woken up and you're a little bit rough.
Beans on toast.
Yeah, so for those of you out there who don't know what a full English is, it's a giant breakfast, which is about 4,000 calories a times. You have sausages, bacon, baked beans, tomatoes, mushrooms.
That's your main meal.
It's like just getting you going. Hash brown potatoes, like shredded potato, toast, black pudding, which is like sausages made of blood, white pudding as well. Some of them, the plates are about this big. Like bigger than your stomach.
So what's your favourite English dish?
Oh, I still love Sunday roasts. So a Sunday roast is much like what we eat for Christmas, essentially. So a roast of big meat, might be chicken, beef, pork, lamb, whatever it is. Roast some vegetables, roast potatoes.
Over the spin or spit? What do you call it? Over the spit.
Oh, very rarely. If we have the time, it's always like a treat. Some people who are a bit fancy.
To turn the meat.
Yeah, you get those like auto rotisserie ones that do it. But yeah, it's fantastic. Then like a meat sauce, gravy, and we normally eat that every Sunday. Yeah, Sunday roast is just absolutely the best.
And the third thing I was amazed by, was how much you drink, guys. So I came from Russia, obviously, and I was told that you Russians, you drink a lot. We don't. Yeah, all right. We just
like put you to shame. Yeah. Like, wait a second.
When I went to Glasgow, it's just no.
Oh my God.
The English don't drink. These guys do.
It's like you go from Russia, like, oh yeah, we're heavy drinkers. So you see like England, like, oh wait, like Glasgow, like oh.
That's what it means.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to talk bad about any city. Glasgow's a great city. I would recommend everyone to see it. But you will see empty bottles of beer and wine and cans of beer all over the floor. They're quite obsessed with their drink.
Yeah, with any drinks.
Yeah.
With all the drinks.
Whatever gets you drunk fastest. There's like a whole sort of cult in Scotland about Buckfast, which is like a fortified wine. And basically it just gets you super pissed, super quick.
Wine, like sherry?
Yeah, but think like as cheap as you possibly can make it. That's their go-to.
I wouldn't try it.
What do you think of English pubs?
English pubs. Well, first of all, when I first came there, I didn't go to any proper, I realised I didn't go to any proper English pubs. I went only to those chain bars, etc.
The Wetherspoons, these kind of things to begin with, yeah.
And Greeny King, the famous chain in London. So when I first popped in a proper English pub, I was just amazed. They're usually very tiny, very cosy, and I was surprised that everyone wanted to talk to me. Although I was a complete stranger to them.
Yeah.
And I spent there like 4 or 5 hours just chatting to complete strangers and having a good time.
Yeah, I always try to encourage people. I mean, it might seem very strange from the countries you're from, but in UK pubs, this is where you can really meet the proper locals and the natives, and it's a really, really good opportunity to practice your English and hear some proper expressions and how people really speak. I think this is actually a little bit of an issue, if we're sort of talking about Coursebooks and stuff for learning. The recording's always perfect. It's like they've rehearsed it, they've done it a million times.
There's no noise.
There's no noise. When in reality...
Nobody swears.
Yeah. It's always like PG.
Yeah. Oh, blimey.
Yeah, where in reality, people are always evolving their thoughts. They go back and they repeat what they've said and they change what they say. And that's a whole different skill to understand.
The words,
to actually fully understand what they're saying.
Just hating grammar whatsoever. That's another thing I was surprised. Most of the people in pubs, they just don't care about grammar. Not most of them, but I would say like half.
It doesn't matter to them, yeah.
So you can easily hear something like, they was there, instead of they were there. It's not a big deal. Nobody would even blink.
Mm-hmm. Me and my friend are heading off to another pub.
Yeah, because me and my friend is actually... It's considered to be wrong according to traditional grammar.
Yeah, but...
but in real life, nobody says
it's a matter of time until this is adopted as standard. I promise you, everyone out there. Grammar is always evolving, always changing. And unfortunately, especially when people learn from these like old books, the grammar and the vocabulary they learn is so archaic and out of date.
Yeah, if we think about our universities, linguistic universities and stuff like that, they have some students' book written like 50 or 60 years ago.
And that language is just completely changed.
That was a different country back then.
Yeah.
Not speaking about the language.
When I was forced to go to an Irish bar, my host family ended up speaking more Russian than English. Once you have enough beer, you can speak any language. It doesn't make a difference.
I was also surprised you have bar service everywhere in every pub.
Yeah,
bar service.
It's very rare. I wasn't
used to that.
Always going up to the bar to order your drinks, not sitting down.
When I first came in, I just sat at the table. I was just waiting for someone to come up. And I said, it's a bar service.
Like, you're going to be sat here a long time without a drink.
All right, that'll do.
We have a question. How do you keep up with evolving grammar? Keeping up with mainstream media and being around it as much as you possibly can.
Talking to people.
Yeah,
That's
talking
it.
to natives, understanding what's going on, listening
Watching
to the radio,
series,
reading newspapers.
Podcasts.
Anything like
Right.
that, yeah. You're going to hear how the language was actually spoken. And it's one of those like subtle differences. It's like if anyone's got kids out there, you don't see how fast your kid grows because you see it every day.
Exactly.
But if you haven't touched base in like 6 months, suddenly you go back and say, oh, there is a difference.
Yeah. And another thing is, you all know that according to traditional grammar, you should say there are many people, but quite often you'll hear people say there's lots of people.
Yeah.
There's lots of beers. There's it's just shorter.
Yeah, and there was.
Just
instead of
easier
there,
to
there
say.
were.
Yeah.
We'd always say there was, regardless.
There was many people.
Yeah. There was loads of people there last night. There were.
Normal.
And people don't blink an eye at it. They really don't. And it's something I'm always try to explain to my students as well, is don't focus and panic so much about grammar. I mean, your grammar is going to come along eventually anyway.
Some people do panic.
Yeah, and this is actually what stops them, because I see them and they're sort of they focus so much on the grammar and it sort of frustrates them. It breaks all coherence and
Because
cohesion.
they probably expect that everyone would pounce on any slip they make, etc. Like, oh, bad English.
Yeah, how dare you?
Yeah.
You use
Come to the UK.
use a
and
present perfect
speak to-
continuous when you get out of the bar. Get out. Yeah, it's never going to happen like that.
And in fact, nobody cares.
People will be amazed, even if you're like an intermediate, even pre-intermediate speaker. The fact you're trying to speak that language and you're joining in with the culture, you're going to be welcome with open arms.
Even if you know a couple of words, just a couple of words, they're going to be trying to speak to you.
Yeah. I had a Portuguese friend who spoke no English. I used to work with him as a chef.
No English whatsoever.
No English whatsoever. And I taught him some English. This was before I was even a teacher. And I would go to the pub with him, I'd drink, and we had a pizza box, and I'd always just write on the pizza box and draw pictures, and like I'd point to stuff and try to explain it. And that was the way he actually learned English, was just going
People
into
were
the pub.
trying to speak to him.
Yeah, he was always welcome. He would always sort of listen. I mean, it's the same with me when I'm around different groups of people. If I'm speaking Russian, Arabic, doesn't matter. I sort of just listen in, and that's what I do. And this is how people actually learn languages, is what people don't realise.
That's it. As simple as that.
Yeah, people want to speak as quickly as they can, but when you talk about your native language, you have to remember, you were listening for about 1.5 years, 2 years before you said your first word.
Yeah.
As a baby in the womb, everything else, you're
I
listening
started
to the
speaking
language.
when I was 4.
Yeah, so you had 4 years of listening
Yeah.
practice before you started speaking. And yeah, this is the thing. So many teachers are like, you need to speak. Sometimes it's okay. And I've always said this is a big problem here, actually. Because I came to an evaluation, possibly a speculation, but I think I'm on the ball here. Everywhere I've been, when they're watching English TV, it's always dubbed. So their language, it's always subtitled, sorry.
Yeah.
So it's the English language being spoken with their translation in subtitles. Here, in Russia, it's always dubbed. You never hear English. So for those many years, you've never got to hear the sounds the English person makes. And I think that has an effect on it.
And I guess what really surprised me is we have a lot of fans of some Hollywood celebrities here in Russia, like think of Johnny Depp, etc. And most of those people don't know how he sounds.
Yeah.
Just think about that. They just don't know how his voice sounds.
Another one is Andrew Lincoln as well from Walking Dead.
Oh, yeah.
They used to hear him speak with this American accent.
Yeah,
Then suddenly he
completely
speaks with his natural British accent, and everyone's like, what?
I'm British.
Like, what's going on? Why are you speaking like that? I must leave.
And you know what? I was really surprised that, on one hand, you guys are very polite. But on the other hand, especially when it comes to drinking and swearing, it's just... I don't know how
holds
to
barred.
explain that. That's a different person.
Yeah, it's completely true. Someone said what was talked about is the silent period. Yeah, you're completely correct. It's a silent period. The silent stage of language learning. It's always neglected. People should listen more. We are worse to our best friends than we are to our worst enemies.
Yeah.
We will laugh, we will rib you, which means like joking with you. There's always a lot of banter.
Yeah.
We are relentless to our friends. We will joke, we'll swear like crazy. We might seem like really horrible people, but this is how we're
first
friends.
laugh, then help you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for example, if I fell over, you could, as you kind of did, you seem more worried. So yeah, it's just what friends do. We are. If someone's being mean to you in England, it means they like you. So take that as a
Just
compliment.
love you. That's it.
That's the best way
Don't
to
take it the
explain
wrong way. No, to be honest, I don't have English TV that much. You have YouTube.
Everywhere, yeah. YouTube, podcasts, anywhere you can think of. I mean, there's always my top tip. I always try to tell people, they just don't listen. Find something you love and do it in English. Whether you are interested into, I don't know, photography, watching
That's how I
photography.
started learning English. I was playing computer games, like MMO, RPG, like Lineage, etc., where you're supposed to be playing with different people from all of the world, and I was in an English guild, and I was like forced to use that microphone, headphones, etc., to participate, to communicate, and that's how I started.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing the way people learn stuff, and there's this whole belief of the highbrow learning and the lowbrow learning, and I want to just destroy that. You don't have to learn English purely from academic texts and from grammar books. Do what you like. If you like playing games, play games.
You're going to learn a lot.
Yeah, even normally, actually, my younger students, the one that play the most games online, actually have the best natural English, which is always very surprising.
And there's some kind of motivation, because if you have a quest, you won't finish it unless you know English, unless you've found out where to go, what to do, what to carry, etc.
I mean, it could be anything. If you're interested in photography, watch some YouTube videos about photography. Start trying to find some online magazines or articles about photography.
If you love reading English.
Yeah, if you find anything you are interested in, just go for it. And that is the best way. Some people I see, they're sort of torturing themselves trying to learn, and they're studying something they're not interested in, they don't care about.
Yeah.
Stop it. It's
You
easy.
should read what you love.
Yeah, do what you love. Unless you're going in for the IELTS or your CAE, CPE, where you have to have such a wide, eclectic range of different languages.
Just different English.
Yeah, it's not natural
It's
English.
completely different.
For
For example, the listening part, they're doing it on purpose. They're trying to trick you, etc.
Yeah, that's always
not
like
a natural sounding language. Because in real life, nobody's trying to trick you or deceive you. So.
This is what I tell my IELTS students. I tell them, look, there's traps everywhere. And they're like,
Somerset, Moscow.
Yep. There's always traps everywhere. And the reason they do this, and the best way to explain it is, the people that run IELTS, they're incredibly rich, okay? They have yachts, they're eating black caviar, cigars, all the women on the boat, drinking champagne. They like this lifestyle, and they want to keep that lifestyle. So they want you to fail your IELTS. They put lots of tricks and traps and make it ridiculous. So you have to keep paying and paying and paying.
And it has nothing to do with the real life.
Yeah, absolutely none at all. We had a question a second ago.
To hate rain. I said they love it.
Right now, oh my god, I would do anything for a bit of rain.
How often they talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm living in St. Pete's normally, and everyone's like, oh, it must be really hard. It's like, I come from England. It's basically the same. Apart from the colder winters, it's the same. Like, it's not an issue.
Just
whatsoever.
a bit worse.
Yeah. Just a bit more dramatic, but yeah. I was born in the rain and the grey skies and...
Does it also often rain in Somerset, in the West Country?
Quite a bit still.
Because I thought that was in the south, etc.
Well, it's kind of in the floodplains as well, the whole of the southwest. They're always predicted like the whole southwest of England's going to be gone in like 50 years. So if anyone's out there, don't invest in property in the southwest.
Because of the floods.
Yeah, it'll be just completely submerged.
Have you ever seen like a proper flood, like a really dangerous one?
Not really dangerous, but I remember my grandparents got flooded and they had to be like moved out and everything else.
So the house was ruined.
Yeah, like all the wood got rotted, everything else had to be pulled down.
Did they have the insurance?
Yeah, luckily. So
Thank God.
all sorted that way. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I'm doing it. I'm watching movies, I'm playing video games. That helps me a lot. Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Good job.
This is super.
A great episode.
Yeah. We're already on the 2 pints. This might be more than a 2 pints of an English episode. It might be 20 pints of English by the end of this. We'll see how it goes. Here he's back. But yeah, I mean, even in my groups, for lower level students, okay, there has to be some kind of structured learning, I would say, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying go and burn all of your students' books.
And go to the pub.
Because that's probably not going to help. You might have a more fun time, to be honest. But
It's going to be fun.
but especially when you sort of hit that intermediate level, this is where I try to explain to people, like, you have enough now.
Yeah.
Where you can look at some missing
the
words.
basics.
Yeah, you got enough words here where you can understand the rest from context. And especially for my stronger groups, my C2 groups and stuff like that, I'm so proud of them. And one of the main things I try to do is teach them to be independent in their language learning. Where a pre-intermediate student, I might hold their hand and help them through English. When they get to like advanced and upper intermediate, I'm just like chucking them deep into the pool, like watching them drown. It's like, come on, sink or swim, basically. Yeah.
I respect about high levels. I think it has to do more with vocabulary and grammar, etc.
Yeah, I mean, this is what my C2 students are always talking about. Sometimes, I got the most fantastic group out there, amazing. I love my students. I'm a very, very lucky teacher in that way. But a lot of it, we're looking at collocations, we're looking at unusual phrases. And if we talk about grammar, it's just like complex structures, these unusual phrases that you may come across every now and then. It's not about tenses. There's no secret tenses. Most people understand majority of tenses by about an intermediate level. It's not like you suddenly get to C1, C2, and the teacher goes, here's the secret tenses.
Present perfect continuous part 3.
In the past. It's like, yeah.
Told from the future.
Yeah. Like, oh, here it is. Have you ever watched Peaky Blinders without subtitles? Seems impossible to understand at first. It is a tricky one. Even my American friend watches it with subtitles.
Americans really struggle with that.
I can't blame them. The Birmingham accent's one of the trickiest.
And it's a bit overdone. Can I say overdone?
Yeah, it's not natural. The Birmingham.
It's like fakely broad.
Yeah, quite often the accent's done, especially British ones or Scottish, are really
Just for the
badly
camera
done.
for the effect.
There was a series, I don't know if anybody saw it out there, The Haunting on Hill House.
No, yeah, the horror.
Yeah, and the British people are like, oh, it's so very frightening. And the Scottish person's like, yeah, I know, it's bloody frightening. Like every Scottish, you've offended every Scottish person, every English person. But there's foreigners out there that don't know the real accents, like, wow, that's what it really sounds like.
So what do you make of Scotland in a nutshell?
Gorgeous country. People are a bit crazy and wild. It'll be nice. I don't know. It's a bit of a tricky one because I'd like to see it have a bit more money to like really develop. I mean,
I've been to
Edinburgh.
Highlands.
No, I've really sort of,
Edinburgh.
yeah, I've sort of like gone through it on a train, but I've never really walked along it. I mean, I'm from Somerset. There's only so much green you can look
That's
at.
too far away.
Yeah. But, yeah. I mean, a green field. Don't get me wrong. It's beautiful, but a green field's a green field. It's just a lot of green to look at. It's like, I'll walk over this hill and see what's there. Green.
Yeah.
Oh, great. Okay, let's walk over this one. Green.
By the way, yesterday he told me that most of the people in Somerset never been outside this county. Well, London probably.
No. Yeah, there's many people, and you'll get the same in Yorkshire as well. They just do not want to leave at all.
And what's your accent?
Southwest, Somerset. That's the best way to do. The Southwest is the best way to describe is like Hagrid from Harry Potter. Harry, you be a wizard.
Can advise
Any English forms which could be used for lessons?
forums.
For like making lessons, or
It's a bit like outdated forums.
well, I mean, you got Reddit, which is basically just a whole website of forums.
Yeah.
Which is
That's
very,
it,
very popular.
Reddit.
Yeah, Reddit would probably be the best way, and you've always got such a wealth of different things. You can find some really interesting stuff.
What's the weather like, Felicia?
Too hot. Look how red I am. I don't know if you can see very well. I am the reddest man in the world. Yeah, sunbathing for like 15 minutes, and I'm now as red as a lobster. So yeah, I'm almost the same colour as my passport, actually.
Well, yeah, getting there.
So yeah, I'm trying to avoid the sun. I'm like a vampire. I was teaching behind the curtains today. So yeah, a little bit different. Talking about language learning, obviously this is different because you have this experience. I don't. I naturally speak this language.
You're lucky enough.
Yeah, I mean, people ask me what's the best way to learn English. I say be born there. Doesn't really help people though. What would you say was the best tips you had from learning?
Well, off the top of my head, the first thing that comes to my mind is motivation. If you don't have it, you're going to be fucked, sorry. If you don't like English, if you have nothing to like to read in English, to play in English, to watch in English, etc., there's not going to be any motivation for you. You're going to struggle a lot. You're going to suffer. So the first one is try to get motivated. That's it. That's the first. And I would recommend trying to find a proper teacher. If you're a very beginner, you definitely need one. If you're already B2 or C1, you might get to C2 on your own. But if you're a beginner, you need a teacher, that for sure.
For sure. Has my English changed? Semi. I mean, my accent's a little less broad than what it used to be. I'm like, you're right, me muckers, No, my accent's sort of become a little bit more plain. But something I refuse to do, and if any of my students are out there, they know I will not slow down my speech. Lots of people ask me...
That's nice, isn't it?
Yeah, lots of people ask me, like, the first couple of lessons, like, can you please speak slower and more clearly? And I said, no, you're here to learn English. This is English.
Because if you do, and they come to the UK, they're bound to suffer.
Yeah, exactly. I'm giving them real English. I'm like a walking speaking test, basically. And after about 2 or 3 classes, people pick it up.
Becoming more academic and bookish.
Not necessarily. I wouldn't. Yeah, like I said, my accent's kind of got a bit softer, but I wouldn't say I've changed the way I speak, and I've always been very defiant.
And don't get it wrong, we can speak with some kind of a formal English. We just don't want to.
Oh, of course. I mean,
when it comes to some formal situation, occasion, we can.
I mean, especially when I'm writing like C2 texts to my students, I have to use all this advanced vocabulary and whatnot. But no, I speak how I feel and what's natural, what people will hear when they actually go to England.
But you're learning Russian.
Slowly, yeah. Like piece by piece. Maybe like a phrase a week at the moment.
Yeah, you're learning, not studying.
Yeah. I want to study, but unfortunately just don't have the time.
That's a nice explanation of the words learn and study.
Yeah,
by the way.
Really good, yeah.
Great accents.
Oh, thank you very much.
Are there any pubs in Moscow? There are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Suck and Dizzle in Depot. It's at Depot. So you know Depot in the very center. It's near Belaruskaya station. Mendelevska Depot, короче. And they have a pub called Suck and Diesel. That's it. Just go there. It's really worth it.
Yeah, I was surprised when Eldar first invited me here. I was like a little bit skeptical.
Yeah,
he was like, it's like a proper pub. I was like,
I was surprised as well.
Yeah, it's like, well, we'll see what you mean by proper pub. But I mean, they have proper bar service. You have to go to the bar to order.
It is a proper pub.
Yeah, all the bar staff will speak to you
because the owners are obsessed with Ireland, with the UK, etc.
Yeah, I mean, it's as close as you can to a proper English pub. Everybody's there talking, everybody's joining in. You're going to make friends there. They have nice live music. They got darts, which is I've never seen here. And they got a really good selection of beer and cider, actually. It's actually where this is from tonight.
Basically, they have 2 pubs. There's Suck and Diesel, which is the biggest place, and a tiny shed. It's called Shed. It's not a shed, actually. And it's more of a cider place.
Yeah, so definitely check it out. There's a few nice places in St. Petersburg.
Someone said they were surprised I was Russian when I started speaking Russian.
There you go. You can see why I invited you on. They'll be even more surprised if I spoke Russian.
No way.
I think I'll surprise myself.
Okay, my friend from Germany. Thank you so much. I'm flattered. My friend from Germany learned learned English from elementary to intermediate by 6 months. His argument was it's easy.
Well, he's got an advantage over any other
German
Russian
is
people I
easy.
know.
It's not.
Well,
I have so many articles. Did you know that?
Yeah, but for a German speaker learning English, it's still kind of from the same route.
He was German.
Yeah. So I'm guessing
yeah.
it'll be easier for him to learn English than what a Russian would.
Yeah, I thought he was talking German. Okay, I mean, English is much easier than German.
Studying other languages helps English teachers see the problems their students face. Yeah, for sure. Definitely. I realised when I started first studying Russian, I was like, oh, I don't like how this teacher's teaching me. I'm not going to teach my students like this. And I realised this whole, I don't know why, I've seen so many teachers that are like, exercise, next.
No speaking whatsoever.
Yeah. There has to be that time to discuss, to talk, to pull apart the language, have a little bit of fun. Quite often when I put my students in groups, I'll jump between the groups to see what everyone's doing. And I'm like, oh, sorry, we weren't doing the task, we're just talking English about everyday life. I was like, it's okay, you're speaking English, you're talking about stuff that really matters, it's fine, as long as you get onto the topic afterwards.
Yeah, learning unconsciously.
Yeah, and they're doing what's natural to them, which is something really, really nice.
I think the point is about input. That means reading and listening. When you have enough input, output, speaking, writing goes suddenly.
Yeah, in some ways it does.
Just trying to mull it over.
Yes, if you read a lot, if you listen a lot, this is like what I was talking about, the listening period. So once you kind of understand, you feel a little bit of confidence, then your speaking will come naturally. You need to sort of have some kind of base behind it.
How will it come naturally if you don't speak?
Well, once you've listened, the same one, sometimes when we hear Russian, I'll sort of walk around. For example, by karty.
Yeah.
I heard all the time people saying it in the shop. I was like, oh, okay, that must mean by cart. So then, because I heard it so many times and repeated, I was like, oh, I can say this now.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and like packet and stuff like that. And it's like, oh, okay. Basically, I just go to supermarkets. That's my whole life here.
Okay. Any more questions?
Okay, so let's go back to the UK. What's the places you're really kind of interested in visiting?
Wales, Cornwall, and Liverpool. But I think I might skip Liverpool since I'm a Man United fan.
You're like that strong. It's like, I'm going to skip the city of culture.
Wales, that's for sure. And Cornwall. Do you like Cornwall?
I love Cornwall.
What do you make of it?
Absolutely love it.
Describe it in a nutshell.
Cornwall is what people don't expect England's actually like. It's actually got really, really beautiful beaches. It's very sunny, very, very slow pace of life.
Sounds like France, Spain.
Yeah, a little bit like that. It's not too far away. The only thing that I don't like about Cornish is you get quite a lot of people like, oh, tourists, why are they coming here?
So they don't like them.
Sometimes, you'll always find like people very, very welcoming, but there's always going to be a few people that are like, ugh, why are you here? This is our land.
Leave us alone.
Yeah. Where the Welsh are just incredibly friendly people.
Yeah, they are.
And Wales is actually really, really beautiful.
And cheap.
Yeah. I always find, I always feel sorry for Wales. It's like, it's always a neglected, unwanted child of a family. It's like, you go and sit in the corner. Like, we've taken a family portrait. Oh, yeah, we forgot about that kid. Should we reshoot it? Nah, it's okay. They won't mind.
Hi from Brighton.
Oh, Brighton. Very, very nice.
It's down south.
Yeah, down south, just below sort of London that way.
Standing close to Portsmouth.
A little bit, sort of along the west way of Brighton that way. It's got some really nice beaches, lots of fun there. Big famous Ferris wheel. Very colourful little town. Incredibly expensive though, because lots of people wanted to move there. It's one of those places.
Kind of a popular destination.
Yeah,
like St Ives.
Yeah, became very popular. So lots of people wanted to move there. So house prices shot through.
I heard St Ives is tremendously expensive. It's more expensive than a week in Spain.
It can be for sure.
You're about to rent a cottage.
Yeah, if you want a proper cottage for sure, it's going to be incredibly expensive. Normally, when most UK people travel,
Someone is from Bournemouth.
Oh, we've got lots of people from the UK here. This is wonderful.
It's all over.
I don't know.
I pronounced it correctly.
Yeah, Bournemouth. Yeah, so I think it's the south.
Where is Bournemouth?
It's in the south, as far as I know. It's in between Southampton and Portsmouth. I could be wrong.
Could you tell us where you are on the map? But it's not Midlands, is it?
No, it's like the south, as far as I know. I could be completely wrong. My geography has just let me down here. Maybe that's the beer or the heat.
It is expensive, but such a cozy Dorset. It's the West Country. But
Yeah, so I guess I'm just on the edge of the West Country. Yeah, I mean Cornwall's gorgeous, but it's going to be one of these places. We don't have a lot of nice beaches, and especially if you go in summer, you're going to find the whole of the United Kingdom has tried to drive to these two beaches on the same day, and it's the most stressful thing ever.
there are some nice beaches in Scotland, but it's very cold.
Yeah.
Sorry, lads. Not this time.
I mean, a lot of people don't realise the very north of Scotland is very much similar to like Iceland.
Is that the name of the pub?
We're going to type the pub back in, stuck in diesel. Yeah, I would definitely recommend you to go around there. What about the Midlands? Have you been to Birmingham, around those places?
I was just trying to avoid them because, I was told that there's basically nothing in Midlands, and I thought, like, why would I go there?
Yeah, no offence to anyone out there from the Midlands.
Yeah, don't take it the wrong way.
Yeah, there's not a lot there, to be honest. I mean, there's not these huge areas of natural beauty. I mean, the southwest, you've got the Quantocks, which was this giant forest, absolutely beautiful. The north, you've got the Lake District. Have you had a chance?
No, I'm still trying to make it to there.
Yeah, Lake District's
I've been
absolutely
to Yorkshire
gorgeous.
Dales, Yorkshire Moors. Yeah, that was
So you've
fantastic.
seen all the green.
Yeah, because I was told that I need at least a week in the Lake District.
All depends on what you're going to do. If you're going to like to look around or you're going to go camping.
Properly explore.
Yeah.
Go hiking. So.
But yeah, I mean, the southwest, I had some students and they were incredibly, incredibly well off. And they were living in London. And these are the kind of people that's travelled the whole way around the world. They've been to every destination you could think of. And they asked me, like, where can we go? It's a pandemic, we can't leave the country. And I told them Cornwall. So they went camping there for about 10 days. They came back and I was like, oh, how was it? I thought I was going to say, like, it's okay. They were like, it was the best holiday we have ever had. It was so gorgeous, so beautiful, the friendliest people, the most amazing landscapes. So I was really surprised how much they liked it.
Someone is asking, sorry for using Russian, but how do you call people in Britain? Are there any interesting phrases? I think they mean chaps.
Chavs, like Gopnik.
Yeah, like what means there's supposed to be some C2 level word, like audacious, like really rude, like.
You would say council estate lads, really.
I'm just trying to find that word. So yeah, basically, could you explain what chavs are?
So chav is basically the equivalent of a Gopnik. They will be drinking cheap cider or cheap whatever they get their hands on, smoking lots of cigarettes, in their tracksuits, playing loud music.
That's
Yeah, basically, you see them as like the lowest kind of denominator of culture.
Someone's saying sassy.
No, sassy's like, how dare you say that to me? It's like sassy. And you can even say like, don't give me any sass. So if you spoke to your child, it's like, go to bed. It's like, you're not the boss of me. It's like, don't go give me any sass.
Do parts of the UK differ much? It's like a universe with planets. So every county is another planet, and every village sometimes might be another planet.
Yeah, there are so. I mean, I've mentioned this a few times in the past. I don't want to like rehash stuff over and over again, but there's different accents, different pronunciation, different vocabulary for different words. There is different grammar.
North and south divide.
Yeah, for sure. Completely different. Toffs are like the opposite of chavs. That's the polar opposite. A toff.
Stuck up.
Yeah, these are the people that will speak with the, oh, hello, how are you?
Would you please fuck off?
Yeah, their little top hats and blue blood.
Stuck up person.
I mean, this is the main thing I try to explain. With the RP accent, people won't like you.
Yeah.
Because you will come across as...
I think they frowned upon, that's for sure.
People will not want to speak to you because they sound like you're a toff, you're a snob, you're looking down at people when you speak.
You're
this
trying
accent.
to take the mickey out of someone.
And the craziest thing is, I try to explain this to people, and they go, "Nah, I'm not going to listen to you." If I want to learn Russian, and you said, "Oh, Lance, don't speak with this accent, people will hate you," I'll go, "Yeah, I'm not going to." But for some reason, no. Did I celebrate the platinum jubilee of Elizabeth II? No.
Yeah, I've heard that many people think that Jubilee is a big deal in the UK, but they usually mean London.
Well, the people that celebrated, they weren't celebrating the Queen, they were celebrating that they had 2 extra days off work to go and get drunk.
5 days off.
Yeah, to go and get drunk.
So that's the reason. Try to think about that this way.
I mean, there's a common belief here that all English people
yeah.
are royalists. I mean, there are some. I'm not saying it doesn't exist, of course not. But I don't know any personally at all. And I always get really confused when I see these crowds in the street. I'm like, who are these people?
Tourists.
Yeah, they probably are. For me, the Queen is essentially Big Ben. She's just a tourist attraction.
Yeah.
We got a really good question here, which I want to answer.
Yeah.
Which accent would you recommend? None. Absolutely none. Do not try... I mean, don't get me wrong. Learning your accent can be fantastic, but it's not something you need to focus on at a lower level. You can learn how to speak properly with your own accent, using a range of pronunciation,
Spot on.
tempo, word stress. You can come across absolutely perfect with a Russian accent because you won't sound Russian because you're not using Russian features of speech. You're not speaking in a monotone da 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 da.
Hello, I'm from Russia. Yeah.
Hey, like, hello, I'm from Russia. Having the tempo, the intonation, the word stress, this is what makes you sound not Russian. By going, hello, how are you? Today is such a beautiful day. This, for me, is like, you're not native. Straight away, gives it away.
I mean, look at me. You can succeed with any accent. So my accent, Northern accent, is not considered to be the most popular one. So it's not RP, it's not even Southern. And I teach people like modern Southern pronunciation. So my accent doesn't have to do with it, doesn't have anything to do with that. So most of my students, they speak with modern RP, somewhat traditional, standard Southern English. Is there such a thing?
Kind of, I guess.
But when I'm saying that, I'm just thinking there is no some standard Southern English.
No, I mean, if people don't know you're not from your country, but they can pinpoint where you are, you've achieved it.
Yeah.
Like I said, there are so many accents across the UK, you don't have to pinpoint exactly one. Just speaking with your natural accent, but focusing on the features of speech instead of the pronunciation of the words will massively, massively help you.
I mean, everywhere I go in the UK, everyone understands me perfectly.
Yeah.
So
And I'm sure
I've
you're
never
going to be a
had
lot
any
more
problems with that.
accepted, yeah. Where's better to live? London, Manchester, or Edinburgh? Well, I spent some time in Manchester, which is a really cool city.
It really depends on how much money you have.
Yeah, essentially.
That question.
Edinburgh I've only visited a few times. It's a beautiful city, but can be a bit rough. London is a lot of fun if you are in your 20s and you haven't got a family. You can go out, party, there's always something exciting to do.
It's a nice question, Eldar. What's your accent? I don't know. Well, it's definitely Northern, is it?
Yeah, I mean, when you're speaking this, you've got the northern twang, you've got the little kind of...
I don't say like it's mainly Yorkshire. I have a mix because I've been travelling around like very often, a lot. I've been everywhere, so I like picked up some features of regional accents. But it's Northern, I would say it's like standard Northern accent, something like that.
Where and how can I meet lads like you to make friends, to have cross-cultural experience? I don't know, to be honest. Instagram, pubs, yeah, find a few people who are always friendly. It's a great way of just sort of speaking to people. Try to find anywhere, really. I don't know the best place to recommend. Russian accents in English language sound bad in film from the 90s. Just like English accents in most movies sound bad. It works both ways. It really does.
Yeah. That's spot on, by the way. So, if you want to know what they think about RP, think of Hollywood movies with that fake Russian accent. That's it. Привет, Петр, я пришел бить тебя. Вот такая that shit.
That's exactly spot on there. No, pinch bottom. Old lighter trick.
Here's some northern.
I can, yeah, for sure. He's got this
It's coming up.
elegant and classy as always. We have another little question here. Speaking about cross-cultural communication, could you share any tips in which case Russians could be considered rude? Yes. One really, really interesting thing. Never say no. Never ever say the word no.
Instead of no.
Yeah, I mean, for example, if you invited me to the cinema tomorrow and I didn't want to go, I wouldn't just say no. I would say, oh, that sounds lovely, but maybe another time. Maybe in a week or two, or I'm
always
sorry,
trying
I'm
to be
busy.
polite.
Yeah, there's always some kind of excuse why I can. And I remember when I was first here, and I think I invited someone to a bar or something, and they said no. And for the whole night I was thinking, my God, what have I done to upset this person? Like, am I rude? Like, what have I done? We are not direct. We're Russian. It's incredibly, incredibly direct. You want something, you say it. For example, if
very
I was
straightforward.
If I wanted you to open the window, I'd say, "Oh, it's a bit warm in here, isn't it? It's a bit stuffy," and I'd like go a few times. Where traditionally a Russian person would be like, "Can you open the window?" Yeah, so that's one thing.
Would you mind opening the window?
Yeah. By chance, would it be okay if you would may crack the window open a smidgen?
What's more important? Accent or vocabulary.
Yeah. Choice of words. And this is something else I see as well. It's something I find really, really strange because most textbooks is like 99% formal language, which is really bizarre. Think about your own native language. How often do you use formal language? Hardly ever.
Almost never.
Yeah. And yeah, maybe it's like 5% of your time, but there's this kind of flip and there's a wrong way round, and I've never understood it.
Do you know
the slow-mo guys? Yeah, I've seen their videos where they like do like stupid
What's
little
that?
experiments. They do like pop balloons or like fire pellets or something, and it's like slow-mo. If I'm thinking the right guys, that is.
That was good. Thanks. Okay.
You're welcome. So, something else I want to talk about is finding teachers, because that's always a tricky thing. I mean, obviously, I'm going to say we are the best. Of course we're the best.
We're legends.
Don't get us wrong. But lots of people sort of, they get confused.
We're fully booked.
They get very, very confused by when they follow all these different accounts. And I mean, sometimes I get my students, they say, oh, I saw this phrase on an Instagram account. Do you use it? And I'm like, no. Like, where did you hear this from? It's like, this is awful English. And it can be very, very tricky and damaging, sort of, some of these accounts out there. I mean, I don't want to name names and stuff like this, but I saw one just recently, and it was...
Talking about those stupid videos with intermediate English, advanced English.
Oh, that's one of the things I really hate. It's like a A1 English, advanced English.
I'll give you an example we talked about yesterday. So, I saw a person on Instagram with a video of a couple of there were a couple of phrases, and there were two columns in the video. So the first one was basic. That was it, basic English, and the second one was advanced. Well, so the first word was it stop? So the first one was stop.
Halt.
Yeah, halt. The second one was upset, like you're upset with something. Was it distraught?
Distraught, yeah. Or something. And it was like arduous, and it was like lots of stuff we just don't really
Some
use.
shit like start, commence. Shall we commence?
It was just so... It's not natural way of speaking.
Yeah.
I mean, I said you need to
Fucking
know your
bollocks.
aim of what you're learning for.
And it doesn't mean, if you use the word start, stop, etc., it doesn't mean you're basic.
No, not in the slightest.
We use them, we're not basic.
Yeah, we use it.
He's a
all day to
native,
day.
he uses the word stop.
Yeah, like, stop there a second.
Yeah.
I would say halt. Halt's very
basic.
formal and like
Did you
very
get that?
authoritative. Yeah, I'm a basic bitch. The ones where you see like, don't say very, say this, and I'm like, no, it's fine to say it's very hot
Immensely,
today.
utterly.
Yeah, and like, don't get me wrong, these words do exist.
Yeah.
But I see some phrases and they're so out of date. I saw
Could it try to be a commenting English place that's Live in English. So.
It was someone was saying, "Oh yeah, if you're using your computer, you need to say you're surfing the web." And I'm like, no, don't say surfing the web.
I mean, what kind of a board? Like,
You
supposed to surf.
You sound like you're 80 years old if you say surfing the web. We said this when the internet was first emerging. Now you'd say just I'm browsing online or I'm online. Yeah. By saying surfing the web, you really do sound like a grandmother. So please, 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 be careful of what people tell you.
Another word is seldom.
Oh my god, this is one of my pet hates of seldom.
Very seldom do I drink cider because, to be honest with you, I am more of a bee person.
I didn't even know the word seldom until I moved here, and that's not a lie. This is completely... I've never heard the word seldom. So when I kept hearing it, I had to like sneakily look. I was like, why are they saying this?
He's a very smart guy. Don't get me wrong. He's all right.
I'm well read.
He's not a chump.
I've never heard of seldom in my life.
He's fully qualified.
And
so yeah, as simple as that.
There's a really, really good tip. I remember I showed you this. If you go onto Google and type in like a word meaning, there's like a little arrow below the definition.
I had a post about that.
And yeah, you can see like the usage of time, and you can see seldom was popular like 250 years ago. Not spoken now. Then you look at rarely, and it's like it's popular the whole time.
So, do you know any other words that would come to your mind if we speak of such obsolete words that most of the Russians use? I think another one is
communicate.
Communicate.
I communicated with my friend. No, I talked with my friend. This isn't like necessarily an outdated word, but it's completely the wrong context.
But if you have the right context, you can use it.
Yeah, but it's very, very formal business language. You wouldn't say... it's like, you coming out tonight? I said, I have to communicate with my wife first. It's like...
What? Another one is conduct.
And other things that people love is the word nature.
Nature.
Russian people love this word, nature. I went to the nature to look at the nature and to be in the nature and be surrounded by nature. I went to the countryside to look at the beautiful landscapes and all of the flora that surrounded it.
A matter of fact, it's fine.
Oh, frankly speaking.
Oh, to be frank with you.
Yeah, to be frank.
Could you explain the difference? Because honest and frank are not this. It's not the same thing.
Yeah. If I'm saying to be frank, I'm going to insult you.
Yeah, it's being blunt.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm going to say, look, to be honest, I'm not a big fan of this. Do you mind if I have something different?
But to be frank, you're a cunt.
Yeah. You're going to basically offend someone straight afterwards.
That's the way to use the word, the phrase to be frank.
Let's go back to some of the questions we missed. Okay, we've got... What is your take on contemporary textbooks learning instead of acquiring language? Thanks. They're okay to a certain degree. Don't get me wrong, these are made by experts. They're made specially for that, but they are textbook language. It's not natural language. It's something that I pride myself on, and if any of my C2 students are out there, they know I work tirelessly every single week to build a brand new class using native language, native videos, because they get to a certain level and they just stop, they kind of stall, and people will stagnate. To get from advanced to native, there has to be a completely different input there.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
I think one of the biggest problems is also swear words. Everyone swears.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Especially UK, we love to swear.
And we too.
It's a culture.
Everyone swears, but you're not supposed to be taught to swear if you study with a textbook.
And also, when people learn swear words, they don't learn the shades of swear words and the phrasal verbs of swear words. So, for example, I wasn't going to talk about this, but let's go into it. Piss. Everyone knows piss. It's like, to take a wee or to urinate.
Go for a piss.
Pissed up. Drunk, you might know that one. Pissed off. To be angry, you might know that one.
Piss off means fuck off.
Yeah, if you said someone like piss off, to go away. Then if you said, I'm out on the piss, this means I'm going out to get drunk. I'm going to have a good party.
And then you have to take the piss.
To take the piss, to laugh at someone. I'm having a piss up. Means I'm throwing a party.
And it's pissing it down?
It's pissing it down, is raising. Pissing around. So if I said, okay, my live starts at 9, and I went, no, it starts at 10, no, it starts at 11, I'm pissing you guys around. there's so many different ways and different shades. And
Well, that's just one word.
Yeah, and there's many, many more out there.
What words do you use except for cheers when you clink glasses?
Oh, we just say cheers. I don't think there's anything else there.
Cheers, bottoms up.
Yeah, cheers. Yeah, bottoms up's like, come on, let's drink.
Are there any unusual
Yeah, no, not really.
Slangy in Ireland or Scotland?
Yeah.
Slangy bar,
Yeah.
something like that.
I've heard
Slangy
it quite
bar.
often.
Think of Valglanda series.
It goes without saying, no, that's kind of okay. Oh, I'll let that slide. It goes without saying. So do you fancy a beer? It's like, it goes without saying, come on, fella, you know I am.
I'm trying to think of any other words, obsolete ones, that most of the Russians use.
I mean, there's overused words as well. Like I said, nature is one of them. Borders. Actually, people love to- No, I need to live within these borders. You need to think outside of your borders. Like, why are you saying border so often? It's a word we don't use so...
And such simple words as beautiful, good. Good is very, very common.
Something else...
There are so many synonyms like kraken and corker.
Something people get really confused about as well. Talk about good. When people ask me like how I am, I'm like, I'm okay. That means I'm fine. That's brilliant. That's good. We never
So.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Yeah, so. Not too bad. Same old. This is all like, yeah, I'm great. Don't worry. But we just sound really negative. It's like, I'm alive. So, yeah, don't be offended by
I
that.
do remember I had a post about so that most of the Brits, they don't usually answer with so.
Yeah.
If you're a stranger.
Yeah,
You
sure.
might answer if I'm a friend of yours.
We never put our burdens on people.
You like to suppress your emotions.
I remember one of the first times I was teaching, I was like, you're alright? And I'm like, no. I was like, I don't know how to respond to that.
So is it true that you don't use so as an answer quite often?
Only to like people like,
Yeah.
if you say so, it means I want to talk about my problems.
Yeah.
Like, I've
No
had a
one
bad
wants
day.
to listen about your problems.
Yeah.
If they're strangers.
Exactly. So when I asked the students, like, you okay? And I'm like, no. I was like, what? I've never heard that in all my life. That's never been the answer to, are you okay?
What about 50-50?
No,
How
again,
are you,
I'm very
50-50?
much like so, yeah. Still kicking. A little bit dated still kicking, but it's okay.
Still alive, can't complain.
Yeah, basically all these things are like,
The most popular is not bad.
yeah, not bad. So.
Not bad at all.
So would be like with close friends, like, yeah, I'm alive, let's drink, let's just not talk about problems. There's a really nice phrase, to talk shop. Do you know this one?
What's it? No.
To talk shop. So if you were like working with people all the time in like a certain business, you go to the pub and they start talking about work, you say, oh, for Christ's sake, stop talking shop and talk about something else. Let's not talk about work.
Like stop banging on.
Yeah, stop banging on about work. We finished work. We've got out of work. Let's not talk about it. So it's a really nice little phrase, to talk shop.
Sure.
Yeah.
I need to write it down.
Nice little phrase. I mean, this is something you do. Something you just said there. And this was something that I've always noticed with you.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I don't know
like
if
to
you have the
write down
same
things.
pet hate that I do. When people claim that they know English, like it's completed.
It's fucking annoying.
I'm going to tell you a secret. I don't know English.
Nobody does.
I'm still learning, and it's one of the reasons.
Charles Dickens didn't know English.
Yeah, he was making up his own words. Like, I don't know a word for this, I'll make one up. I mean, I've got every qualification going, I've got years of experience in it, I'm a native, I still don't know the English language. You don't know the English language, and you're happy to admit it. And when I see people say, yes, I know the English language, I'm like, do you? Like, what secrets do you have? Shop talking, no, talk shop. Always talk shop. So yeah, never trust someone that says they completely understand English, because they don't. And this was one of the things when we first started meeting up. Like, I really appreciate it, actually. You always like ask me politely, like, I'd say a phrase and there might be an unusual idiom and it, like I said, we're friends. I speak to you naturally.
Again, can you repeat that?
Yeah, you say, oh, do you mind if I write this down a second? And you'll jot it down on your phone.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, I need to look that up. And that is a fantastic way to learn
That's how you're
language.
supposed to learn English.
Yeah.
Any language, basically.
To make a little note of it, if you're watching a series, a movie...
And then try to use it, that's the key.
Yeah.
I mean, you should try to use it maybe next day or the same day once you use it, it's gonna stick there.
It's what I hear from you. Sometimes you'll pick up a phrase, next time I see you, you're using the
Yeah.
phrase. I'm like, well, you're exhausted. You've taken it on. Fantastic. So it's always a nice way of doing it. But there's many, many different ways you can learn English. It's not just grammar books. And I want to get people out. Look, English can be fun.
Yeah. How are you supposed to try and find a proper teacher? Like what you should pay attention to?
If they claim they know English, this is a warning sign straight away.
Yeah. Well, I would say that the first thing you should do is listen to how they speak. And I'm not speaking about those pre-recorded stories like scripted shit, etc. Try to listen to how a person speaks in real life, like not pre-scripted, etc.
Yeah, you can always tell when someone's like reading off a screen. They've like made like a course book. Like, yeah, normally you'll find in their stories someone lists how they naturally speak or if they're interacting with other people. That's always like a red flag for me. If I can't see the person speaking English, I'm like, do you know English?
Obviously not.
Also, people that have these kind of claims, like, come and study with me of 1 month and you'll sound like a native. It's not going to happen. I'm sorry, but it's not going to happen. My students, they ask me, like, how long it would be until I can speak like you, like 15 years, 20 years, and you have to move to England. You can get very good at your language, don't get me wrong, but you need to spend a lot of time to get to, like, a very, 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 very high level. Don't get me wrong, you could study and become a fantastic learner. But, I mean, your accent is as good as it is because you've spent so much time in the UK. I mean, pre-pandemic, I remember you...
And I wasn't afraid to speak to someone.
Exactly. This was the thing, you sort of broke through that fear.
Yes, most of the people, they usually travel to the UK, but they're just being tourists, you know what I mean? They're afraid to talk to someone, to go to the pub.
Yeah, I mean, that was the thing. Your whole point of your travels, it seemed like, it wasn't just...
I was just trying to
want to see
mingle.
England, but you wanted to really dive deep into this culture. It wasn't to go sightseeing. I mean, I'm sure you did get sightseeing as well. Everyone does. But yeah, I mean, you want to try to find that reason. It's going back to what Eldar said earlier. Find that reason of why you're learning English. And it does take work, especially to begin with. And that is the hardest period. From like the elementary to intermediate, it's the hardest period. And it's not fun. It's never going to be fun. Because you're learning about stuff that's not
You're
interesting.
going to suffer.
And I remember I had some students who came in the classroom and she would sit there on her phone the whole time and like playing on another one. Wouldn't speak to the rest of the students, never done any activities. And then she had the balls to complain to me that her English wasn't getting better. I was like, well, you skip 1 out of 2 classes. You sit on your phone the whole time. You never do any activities. She's like, but I've paid for the course. I was like, and?
Like she thought some magic was going to
happen. I was like, oh, I paid this money, therefore my English is going to get better. It doesn't work like that, unfortunately.
It's not a fucking shop.
Yeah. It's like,
can I have one seat to a place?
Can I have one English? Yes, there you are. There's your English. No, it does take
the phrase to be in a pretty pickle.
No.
What's that? Pretty pickle? A pickle is like...
To be in a pickle is like you're in a problem. Pretty pickle, never. Never, never, never.
Pretty pickle.
Yeah, I'm in a bit of a pickle. Yeah, I'll accept I'm in a pickle. That's fine, but it's still very, very polite.
To be in a scrap?
To be in a scrap?
No. What does it mean to be in
to be like in a problem. Like you're trying to I don't know how to solve something. I'm in a pickle.
Oh. So it's not about fighting?
No. Yeah, nothing like that. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting to hear from someone that's actually travelled around the UK and sort of understanding so much more of the culture. Because, I mean, don't get me wrong, London, pretty silly, absolutely gorgeous. And I know a lot of people travel because they want to relax.
2 or 3 days, that's enough.
And I understand people want to relax on their holidays and they want to go sightseeing and just eat in nice restaurants and stuff like that. But if you do have the opportunity, I know it's very, very slim right now, but if you wanted to really improve your English, take a trip, but not for the sightseeing, but for language building.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that you've done for the past couple of years.
Yeah, that's what I did.
You've seen England as your playground and as your classroom.
That's a nice question. Does alcohol break language very well?
Yeah.
It does. It really helps.
It makes you more brave. It's not about it makes your English better. It makes you more brave. You're not so worried about making mistakes.
makes you relax.
Yeah. And this is what you need to be of English. When I'm doing sort of a speaking test with people go, I need to do a speaking test. I'm like, relax, it's fine, calm down. And suddenly they speak so much better.
I use periodically
Urban
language.
Okay. Yeah, it can do, but also be very, very careful with urban language because it can be super, super specific to certain areas.
Yeah. Some slang words.
Yeah, some slang words are very, very particular to, say, like East London or North London or Newcastle.
Which adjectives would you use to describe the taste of the beer you drink? Although we're
this one-
drinking cider, but this one is semi-sweet, and that's it.
This one's got like a sharpness to it, and I like
Try
it.
some?
Yeah, of course. Knock yourself out.
Oh, it's still dry.
I remember I let you try some
Yeah,
scrumpy,
yeah.
what was it, last week, and you're like, oh, no.
Vinegar.
So I love this. So how can we get intensive speaking practice when travelling? Only going by own to clubs. Not to clubs. Clubs and pubs are completely different. No. Pubs are a great way to meet people. But, I mean, you can always find places to go and speak to people, and there's always going to be extra places. You can join some clubs, you can join some activities.
Festivals.
Yeah, festivals. There's always going to be people that's going to be friendly with you. It's not about getting drunk to speak to people, but you have to remember, in England, pubs are our social hub. This is where everybody goes to speak, from the village, from the town, from the city. It's where we get to know each other. So this is...
Basically, it's not about drinking, it's about...
Yeah, it's about
talking,
socialising. It's
yeah.
not about getting drunk, it's about talking. I mean, you can go to a pub.
And getting drunk.
Yeah. But if you wasn't a drinker, you could still experience that by going there, ordering a tea, Coke, it doesn't matter. But you can go to parks, you can...
What about the phrase, help yourself?
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. If I had some chips or so, yeah, help yourself. Completely fine to say. But yeah, there's a million different places you can go. I mean, if you was there for a couple of weeks, you can join a yoga club for a week. You can go and play tennis with a few people. We always have lots of clubs and different events going on, and these could be really great ways. Especially if you're going into the major cities, there's always meetups for foreigners where they can all meet, and some natives go as well, so you can really start speaking to a few people. So many opportunities for you. It's just getting out of that comfort barrier. Don't stop someone in the street, just walking down the street and going, hi, would you like a conversation with me? Because they will just go, no. That's the only time they will say no.
Do you have any questions?
Yeah, we're going to have to wrap it up in about 15 minutes or so, guys. So if you've got any extra questions, feel free to throw them in now.
Fire away.
Before we wrap it up.
I got quite beer.
As I said, our 2 pints of English is now turned into 3 pints of English. And we'll probably join many more beers afterwards. So if you've got any questions, is it questions about your language learning, about England, feel free to ask them, okay? And we'll do what we possibly can to give you the best answer. That's what we're here for. And he's back.
Hello, everybody. How's it going? Cheers.
Cheers.
The first pint of beer. Hobgoblin.
I remember that was like the first beer I used to drink. When I was young, it was always Hobgoblin and Guinness. I loved that stuff when I was younger.
Where does it come from? Whichwood Brewery.
I'm not sure, but they used to have some fantastic beers. They had a really, really good pumpkin one for a while.
Whitney, Oxfordshire. Comes from Oxford.
Can we play with words and say it's something like, it's not my cup of coffee instead of my tea? Yes, you can, but, big but, your language has to be perfect around it. This is a very, very important little point. It's something where I say to my C2 students is, once you've got to a certain level, you kind of have this...
Yeah, you told me once.
Yeah, you have this like
It's
poetic
alright, you
license.
can do that.
Yeah, you have your poetic license because you've got everything around it. You can play around with metaphors. You can make your own metaphors, and it's a really, really nice way of actually being like a native, is playing with them. But if you've got a lot of mistakes either around your
it's
language,
not going to work.
no, people just think it's another mistake you made instead.
What is my level if I understand everything you talk about?
It's hard. It's just great just from listening, but pretty good if you can understand everything you say. We had a question. Are you planning a St. Pete's meeting? Yeah, I'm actually planning a St. Pete's meeting and possibly a Moscow one, actually. Depending.
Oh, come out.
Yeah, for my school's 2-year anniversary.
It's been 2 years.
Yeah, it's flown by. 2 years I've owned my school now.
Congrats.
So yeah, I don't know what I'm doing yet. I need to plan it, much like most of my life.
Trying to figure it out.
But I'm trying to think of a little meeting. But I found out a lot of the followers obviously in Moscow, lots of them in St. Petersburg, and since I'm in Moscow quite often, I may do one in Moscow as well. But I don't know if it's going to be like a little meet-up in a restaurant or a cafe or a bar, or I don't know if we have a barbecue. I need to plan it out essentially. But
You
yeah,
need
there will
to
be
know
some
how many people will show up.
Yeah, this is exactly
before
the first
doing
thing.
that.
Yeah, I need to know. So I'll probably have to do with some kind of deposit system just to make sure.
Greetings from London. Cheers.
I want to speak fluently like you, but I like just understanding you. That's a good start.
Yeah.
As we talk about the silent period,
You will
understand us
get
and
there
then repeat.
one day.
Something that's always neglected, in my opinion, is shadowing, like your own
Yeah.
voice and repeating. Recording your voice and like listening to it is so beneficial
Yeah.
because you suddenly realise you went go to but when you're speaking, don't think about it so much.
On the other hand, please be careful about whom you are supposed to shadow, because I've seen lots of really shite examples when people shadow. Can I use it as a verb?
Yeah, yeah.
Shadow some stupid celebs, and that's just bollocks. I mean, be very, very careful trying to choose the perfect example.
Yeah, I mean,
I think it's better to ask some native, like.
going back
I should shadow.
yeah. I mean, ask your teacher. Corrective weather dependent. Is there a special chunk for that? Can I? I don't think there's a special name. They're very susceptible to changes in weather. I don't think there's a special word for that.
Nesh.
Nash.
Nesh.
Really?
It's like affected by cold or something like.
I never heard that. Here's proof I don't know every single word. I've never heard this in my life.
Just a moment. Nesh.
We're just checking a word that's new to me.
Sensitive to the cold.
Sensitive to the cold. Nesh. Yeah, never heard of it. So yeah, nesh, apparently. Not a word I've ever heard of or used.
I think it's Yorkshire.
But I mean, this is something like, quite often you'll say to me, like, is this used nowadays? And I say, myself, I wouldn't use it. I don't ever say no, never,
Yeah.
unless
Yeah.
I'm sure. Like, it may be used in different places. Any films to watch?
You can also say it's a bit nesh in here, it's a bit chilly.
Yeah, never used on the Southwest. Any films to watch? Hundreds. All of them.
I'm more into TV shows like series.
I mean,
Witcher, Game of Thrones, Peaky
yeah, I mean,
Blinders,
I'm going through like
Outlander.
Stranger Things at the moment, also American English.
Any good?
Yeah, it's quite enjoyable. It's just a bit of fun. I mean, it all depends on the purpose of what you're watching. If it's just for
It's
enjoyment, anything.
N-E-S-H. E is in pen. Yes.
Yeah, movies. Depends on what you want. If you're looking to learn English and the English accent, movies probably aren't going to be your best bet because they always try to make it as broad as they possibly can. But if you just want to learn English generally, yeah, any movie will be fine, any TV show.
And you know, it just struck me that less is more. Do you say less is more when it comes to advanced level?
Yeah.
Because most of the people, they presume you're supposed to be speaking with all those obsolete words, C2 level words. But actually, in real life, less is more.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is one of the big examples where we talked about like
Fluency is what matters.
test English
Yeah.
doesn't correspond to the real world English, where people, for example, if I said to you, what's your favourite food, you would say
Pizza.
Pizza, simple. Where an IELTS student would say, well, to be quite frank with you, if I had to pin down solely one dish from the culinary world, I guess it would probably have to be pizza. There's a local eatery just to the end of my lane that makes the most, and blah blah blah. It's like, if you said that to me in the streets, I'd be going, what are you
I
talking
remember
about?
an actual task from CPE, or even CAE, C1 or C2 exam at Cambridge. And there was a task like paraphrasing. So the first sentence was, for example, John didn't mention that they were friends that they knew each other. And there's supposed to be a word reference, and you're supposed to use that word and paraphrase that sentence so it has the similar meaning. So the answer was, he made no reference to the fact that they were friends. What the actual fuck is that?
Getting on that topic, talking about grammar tests, especially in this country. Oh my god. No, I've never...
Sorry, Elder, but you didn't make any reference to the fact that you like cider, not beer.
I was like, oh, sorry, fella, I didn't know you didn't like cider.
That's
Simple.
it. Basic. We're basic.
Grammar tests in this country, my god, they are not clear. I can't do them. My native teachers can't do them.
Remember those tests from the university?
They make no sense whatsoever. There's no logic behind them. I remember when I first started as a teacher, I was working in a different school, and a 16-year-old had a college or university application. She had to do an English test. And I read through it, and I looked at the answers like, right, I don't know. Read through the text again, looked at the answers like, I don't know. And I was like, I made a photocopy. Yeah, I made a photocopy of it, and I was like, I thought it was like, oh my god, I'm a new teacher. I must just be an idiot. There's so much I don't know. I showed it to my director, who was like a master of English. He been doing it for like 25, 30 years. I showed it to all the other natives, and none of us could solve it. We're just looking like, yeah, there's no answers here. What the fuck is this? The English tests are awful in this country. They just make me cringe looking at it, because they expect you to use this weird construction and this weird phrase, and that's the only correct answer, when in reality there's a million different ways of talking about it. I mean, I saw on your page today you was talking about how the present simple can substitute for the future.
The trend leaves at 5.
Yeah, and being forced into no, you must have to use will for the future. It's like, no,
The train is due to depart.
Yeah. It drives me insane. It's like, no, speak naturally, please. And this is what I'm so focused on doing.
And don't get us wrong, he's a native. I have like C2 certificate, so I know that formal language. I can speak like that. I just don't want to.
Yeah, there's no need for it.
I'm not a fucking idiot.
It's knowing your location, where you are, how to speak. Think about if you were, I don't know, in Dixie or some cheap supermarket, and someone came in there and spoke the most formal Russian possible, you'd be looking at them like, what is wrong with you? And that's what
please get out.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of people do in English without realising. They use over formality all the time.
How do you use the word lame?
It's a bit lame. It's a bit dated now. It's starting to get a bit dated. You might still hear it every now and then, but yeah. Another one I keep hearing people say, it's a bit naff. It's like, a bit dated as well. It's like, you'll still hear it occasionally, but it's not as popular as it was.
How would you use it?
Like, oh, this beer's a bit naff.
No, lame.
Oh, yeah, exactly the same. This beer is a bit lame.
Like, not up to scratch?
Yeah, not that good. It's like, it's not that good. That's exactly how I would say it. I wouldn't use it. I was like, I'm not a big fan of this beer. Not my cup of tea as well. This is another Russian phrase I really love.
I've never heard it.
I've never used that phrase. It's not
I've
my
never
cup of tea.
heard it in the UK.
I'm not a fan.
And I've talked to like thousands.
Yeah, but it's one of the phrases they first learned. It's not my cup of tea. I had a student who was absolutely fantastic. The speaking test was wonderful. And then she used "it's not my cup of tea." I was like, oh no, you were doing so well. You're doing so well on your test. Okay, guys, we're gonna stay around for about 5 more minutes.
Yep. Do you have any questions?
So last chance to get your questions in.
Feel free to ask us anything you want.
It could be about language learning, England, or whatever, really, basically.
Why do I have empty shelves?
Why are you English? That's why.
Because last time we had live, someone asked, why do you have empty shelves behind you? I thought, because there's nothing in there.
I had the question, why are you English?
Really? Literally.
Yeah.
Why are you English?
It's like, don't know.
I didn't choose.
I don't know if this is like supposed to be like philosophical or
Ask my parents.
Like, why am I English? And I sit with like a Greek philosopher. I was like, I don't know.
To be frank.
Yeah, it's just how it happened. Okay, look, guys, do you guys use the phrase immerse oneself into? Not really. I'm immersed into... All depends on the context again. I would say immerse yourself into English. That's absolutely fine.
Dive into English.
But I'm really into this book. I'm really into this movie. Much more
What
natural.
about the word acquaintances?
Acquaintances.
It's quite popular, yeah.
A guy I know. Yeah. Instead of an acquaintance, a guy I know.
Would you
or a
say,
girl I know.
I would like to acquaint myself?
Oh, never.
That's
Never.
Who's recommend top 3 books? It depends on your level. What's your level? I will recommend.
Yeah, and this is something I want to mention as well. If your level, just like you said, but don't go too far back until you're a very, very good level. Try to stick with sort of contemporary books, sort of in 50, 60 year.
Which I love classics.
I love classics as well. Most of my books I read are classics, but
Don't go for those huge novels like David Copperfield.
the problem is if you go back too far, and if you're reading it for literacy, you're just reading it to enjoy the book, fantastic, wonderful. If you're learning to read English, completely wrong. I remember I had a pre-intermediate student, and she's like, "Oh, I started reading in English." It's like, "Oh, fantastic, wonderful." So yeah, but I don't really understand it. Can you help me understand this? I was like, "Yeah, sure." And she got the book out of her bag, and it was Shakespeare. I was like, "No,
That's too much.
no,
It's not even Dickens.
oh my god! Like natives aren't going to understand."
If you love
Shakespeare.
classics, you can go with short stories by Oscar Wilde, for example. There's some good language there.
Oh, Oscar Wilde's one of my favourite writers. Absolutely love him. Makes me laugh.
Some
so much.
words are obsolete, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But not all of them.
I mean, if you're talking about something a little bit fun, sort of sci-fi, fantasy, Terry Pratchett's always very, very
Yeah,
good.
really good. Neil Gaiman.
Yeah, I mean, they work together as well, I think. No Game and Terry Pratchett have done quite a bit together.
Good Omens.
Yeah. They're just a bit of fun. I mean, there's plenty out there. There really is.
Oscar Wilde. If you like American authors, or Henry, like those very short stories. If you speak about something modern.
I mean, if you're really trying to push your language as much as you possibly can, and you really want a challenge but a lot of fun, Jitterbug Perfume by Tom Robbins. Oh, it's an incredible book. I just finished reading it a while back. I'll put it in the chat.
Have you read James Joyce?
I learned a bit of it at school, bless it. I've never read too much, to be honest. But this will be for all the very, very advanced students out there. Have an attempt at that. A lot of fun. Just really, really bizarre, but fun. I can't even begin to explain it, but superb language involved in there. Just really wacky.
I'm reading Dune at the moment.
How is it?
It's Dune?
Yeah, Dune.
I read like 200 pages. It's really gripping.
Well, flying through it already.
It's like another universe, like Star Wars.
I'm currently reading On the Road. Jack Crow. Always pronounced his second name wrong. But yeah, it's not too bad at all. I'm quite enjoying it.
The American.
Yeah, I mean, Stephen King is like his language isn't overly complex. It'll be sort of nice upper intermediate sort of reading style. I mean, obviously most of his films been
If you
adapted.
want to suffer, just read James Joyce. That's considered Ulysses, Finnegan's Wake. Those two are considered to be the most difficult books to read in the history of literature.
Yeah, I mean, this is like, yeah, it's not somewhere
I had to read it
learning English.
3 times from scratch to understand it. Ulysses.
No, it's one of those ones that's always been on my list, but never really got round to it.
Yeah, I know Dune was before Star Wars, so they took a lot from this series or something
They
like that.
liberated it.
Yeah.
They British colonised it.
Okay. Jack Kerouac.
Yeah, I always mispronounce his second name. Kerouac? I never know how to say that. I really should look that up.
Where's
How
he
to
from?
pronounce it. American.
Dan Brown. Could you say something
Brown's nice and
about
intermediate.
adapted? I mean, like graded readers?
Again, this all depends what you want to do. Yeah, like graded readers. I mean, if you want to know the story, they're terrible because they cut out so much of the plot and everything else.
So
But
what do you call it when you have a male cat? A Tom?
Tomcat, yeah.
And you...
Well, Tomcat's kind of like a stray wild, castrate.
That's castrated language.
Yeah.
I usually say that.
It's okay if you just wanted to read. It's better than doing nothing, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But if it's like a story you really wanted to know, don't read it. If it's reading something like you don't really care about, but it's there for like English practice, super. But if it's a story you really, really want to understand, don't go full adapted.
Remark will be in translation.
No idea.
Thanks.
Anyway, guys and girls, we unfortunately have to wrap up this episode.
Thank you so much.